Hi, I'm Les Ihara, Jr. We are in Honolulu, Hawaii, right across the street from Iolani Palace, and we're in my Senate. I'm a member of the Hawaii State Senate, and we're in my Senate office. I've been in the Senate for 15 years, 23 years in all in the Legislature, which includes 8 years in the House. And I've managed to be what I would consider a citizen legislator for all these years. Starting my 24th session here has been an enormous experience. I have learned to ally with a lot of citizen groups. I had walked my own path, which was to ally with citizen groups. So I was not a close partner. I worked with what I would consider power brokers or interests with financial interests and so forth, which tend to dominate the legislature, not just in Hawaii but elsewhere. And I decided that I would experiment with another route. And I say experiment because I didn't know if I could last this long. And I have, and my path has been to demonstrate that you can be successful in politics, inside a legislative body, have good relationships with my colleagues, which I do. We may differ on issues, but I think there is a sense of respect, mutual respect that we have. And walk what I would call a principled path, which has not been easy, and has been a lot of challenges thrown up in my path, and to kind of untangle and to see clearly enough so that I can walk with my own integrity intact. And that's how it's been, and it's been at this point in my career, I'm now beginning to really share, and good that we're talking, because I'm really now going public after kind of being a little bit more undercover for all these years. So the first 10 years, I needed to learn how to breathe. A lot of the air and the atmosphere here is based on fear, based on power and influence. When you're trying to influence someone, for me, I do not try to have another legislator act contrary to their own integrity. But oftentimes influence means coercion, means, someone wants me to do something that goes against my integrity, I will stop the conversation, I don't go there. For much of the inside politics, that's what influence is to get someone to act sometimes contrary to their integrity. I knew early on that I would be in politics. I was, I think, the youngest Democratic Party chair for this island. I was involved in politics at a very young age. And once I learned the give and take, some rough and tumble politics, where oftentimes brute power prevails, I decided that I needed to be prepared. And I went through a training program, and I was in training, self-training, to do that. And the opportunity to enter the legislature came probably 5 years before my plan. I had a 10-year plan to get to train myself so that I can be fluent in the ways of politics and still maintain my own integrity. I made a commitment to my two nieces that I would, on my deathbed, actually, is my life's calling, that politics, the beginning of transformation politics sort of started. So I committed to them. They didn't know it, but I committed to them, and I set up a 40-year plan. When I entered, it allowed me to stay on the path of transforming politics from a fear-based politics to a vision-based politics, and it provided enough support for me to keep on that path. And it can be done. In a way, part of my story is I'm living proof that you can actually walk that path and be successful and support what the interests of the public. And I'm interested in having a conversation with others about what does the community want in its public leaders. And I think it has to do with principled leadership, something like that. And also the question of what do each of our own individual selves, what kind of leader do we want to be? Because we live a public life as well in our organizations, in our projects, and our work. I think it's an opportunity for us to say, what kind of leader do I want to be? And I think there is a little internal debate going on is I want to live the principled type relationships, but I need to be practical as well, and sometimes you can't do both. But I'm saying that you can. It's worthy to learn how to construe things and interpret our circumstances in a way that we can, be true to ourselves and our principles, and be effective and practical and get the job done and implement our projects and achieve our goals. I'm setting up a network to be, basically speaking, and we have the technology to communicate with people through social media, through YouTube, through blogs and so forth. And so we're exploring that. We're planning to do all of that. And I'm toying with, and we'll be talking with people about maybe some kind of a series of either workshops or seminars or a series of conversations. Essentially have the whole question about what kind of public leaders we want and how we want them to act and behave is a question that we want to have be discussed in many public venues. Much of the work that I've been doing, it has to do with open government, ethics, lobbyists, registration and disclosure, much of what I would call integrity issues, because campaign reform, because I think my own belief is that if you look at the system, the way it's designed the way it is, and it's probably the best, design system democracy we have, and there are what I would call flaws in it, because when you campaign to ask people to donate, those who are most likely to donate would be those who have an interest in donating, and so you're already, that if you use your position to imply that you're going to help them out, they're more likely to give. And to me, that's crossing the line right there. You're now implying a quid pro quo. You don't want to go there because it's against the law. And like judges, unfortunately, we don't have elected judges, but imagine in the states. But even a judge would have to recuse themselves if they have financial relationships with any of the parties before them. But in the legislature, we do not have to recuse ourselves when we have financial relationships with the parties involved. So I think just to begin with, when you get into politics, you're already in a culture that says it's okay to do that as long as you don't cross the line, which is, there's a lot of gray area. What I would want people to take away from this conversation is that it is possible to live a principled life, not only in personal life, in our relationships, but in organizations, in our projects, where we work, and in public policy arena as well.